So we're doing a shiur from Sevaros, the Mishnah Torah Rambam by the Baal Kuntress, called Geulah Lanu. So most of these shiurim are focusing on halachic things. You could argue that this is on a halachic thing also, but it's really more about the nusach of the bracha. And it gets into hashkafa. And I think, okay, and we'll see if we'll see if I think this. I think that if you go through one shiur, let's say someone doesn't know anything about the themes of Pesach, which I've used this for, I would go through this shiur with them, not necessarily reading it with them, but like these ideas, because it really touches on a lot of the fundamental ideas about Pesach and just says it in a really good way. So that's what I think. But again, that's it's been a while since I've gone through it, so we'll see. Okay. Oh, and we need Rambams, right? Yes. So you can get those Rambams. I'm going to open up the Rambam here. Let me stop sharing and open it on Mamre. So our minhag for doing this is to look up all of the references in the Mishnah Torah to see them inside, unless they're like not something that needs to be looked up, or uninteresting, yeah. And then any Gemaras he does, he usually quotes the relevant part of the Gemara. So so we won't do that unless we need to. Okay, so let's share everything here. Okay, so starting with the Kuntress. Ayin Hilchos Matzah Ches Hey. So la'achar sipur hanisim v'haniflaos shenasu lavasinu b'mitzrayim omrim lefikach anu chayavim lahodos v'chule v'misha asalana es kol hanisim ha'elu. Okay, so let's read that inside. Oh, we also have a minhag for those who aren't here to call out the page numbers as soon as you get it, so that you can save other people time and you can make them upset. Okay, yeah, it's a competition. All right, so Gimel Hey, right? Oh, sorry, Pesach, yeah. V'omer, so this is after you've said the Rambam Gamliel, after you've explained all the mitzvos. V'omer, and then you say lefikach anu chayavim lahodos lahala l'shabeach l'far l'romim l'gader u'lahader u'lanastech l'misha ata lanu v'lavasenu es kol hanisim lanu v'lavasenu es kol hanisim ha'elu. So therefore, we are obligated to thank, praise the one who did for us and our fathers all of these miracles. And he doesn't quote the whole thing. And then he says Hallelujah, Hallelujah Hashem. Okay, fine. Then I think we should read this now because I think he's going to talk about it. And then you conclude Hallel, or really Magid, with Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Asher Geulah Lanu v'Ga'al es avosenu miMitzrayim. So who redeemed us and redeemed our fathers from Mitzrayim. And brought us to this night to eat on it matzah and rorim. And nowadays we add, thus, or so too, Hashem, our God and God of our fathers, bring us to festival, to holiday, appointed times of festivals, other ones that come to greet us with peace. Rejoicing in the building of your city and being glad in your service. And we will eat there from the offerings and the Pesachs that Shiagia Damam Al Kir Mizbachach La Ratzon, whose blood has reached the wall of your Mizbeach for favor. And we will thank you with a new song on our redemption and on the redemption of our souls. Our soul. Baruch atah Hashem, Goel Yisrael. Murach al Gefen v'shoseh kot hasheni. Okay, that's the bracha. All right, Kuntress. So he quoted that. Ulam ayin b'nusach ha'hagad al haramam she'omrim l'misha asa lanu v'la'avosenu es kol hanisim ha'elu. Did I just miss something? Shata lanu. Oh yeah. Okay. Maybe. Well, okay. Let's see. Is the Kuntress's version the same as ours?
Yeah.
What did we just read?
We just read more again.
Did we read Lanu es kol hanisim elu?
Oh, it is.
Lanu. No, see. Yeah, so our Mechon Mamre one says Lanu v'la avosenu.
Yeah, that's this one.
And that's what that one has also. Okay, fine. So the Kuntress's one just says not to love avosenu. Interesting. I you know what I need to do? I need to look at Lanu v'la avosenu. I'm just trying to think if I need to look in the Rambam Siddur and see what they have.
Hopefully it doesn't spoil the idea.
Yeah. I mean, if he sets it up as a contradiction, then there goes the whole thing. Yeah. Nusa Kahagara. So I just need to see. Oh, he probably wouldn't have it. He probably would just have it in the bracha. But I don't think it's going to help us. So in the bracha and the Rambam Titter, it does say. Wait. Let me check some. Lanu Velavaseno. That's it. Not even a footnote. Okay, so let's see what he says about it. Yeah. The angel stira.
Uh-oh.
The angel stira.
Oh, okay.
Even though this is not a contradiction. Shebenusach hagara haramam mevar kavanas milas lanu asher kasav b'halachos. Okay, fine. So because you could just say that the Rambam was explaining. We're on page 66. We just got to the top line. Shebenusach hagara haramam mevar kavanas milas lanu asher kasav b'halachos. So you could say that in the Nusach hagara, he's explaining what we mean when we say lanu. So lanu means lanu v'lavaseno. Okay. There is a problem. Okay, why? Kavanas milas lanu kishi lechuda havia b'nei Israel be'open klali. So the word us, when it's alone, is referring to b'nei Israel in a general way. Aval kavanas hamilim lanu v'la avosenu b'yachad havia anachnu ele po hayom. Did we raise this?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, never mind.
okay. The kavana of lanu v'lavosenu means we who are here today. V'gam heim shechayu b'yamim hahem hakol pratim, and also they who lived before, all in particular. Right? That's what lanu v'lavosenu means.
As opposed to lanu.
If you just said lanu, it would be Klal Yisrael as a whole, not differentiating between times.
Okay.
But lanu v'lavosenu means us and them. You couldn't say that the us there means them also, because then why are you saying v'lavosenu? Right? Okay. Yeah.
Wait, so lanu excludes Daka excludes them.
When you put them together, yeah.
Oh, when you put them.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. When it's alone, then it includes everyone, but when it's when it is together with Lavoseno, then it excludes Lavoseno.
So that's the problem.
It's not a problem yet, right?
Oh, okay.
And we say the same thing there. Okay, so now he says the question. Right. The question is, how can we say that God did the miracles for us today as individual people? Okay. And if you'll say that you're just obligated to see yourself as though you went out of Mitzrayim or act that way, you know. Which we don't need to look up because we've done that so many times. He's bothered by the fact that how can you make the statement that God did the miracles for us? Because he really did the miracles for them.
I mean, it's nothing. Look at yourself as it.
Right. Now, I'm not so bothered by that because I would simply say that we are beneficiaries of the miracles. But it sounds like what he's bothered by is the fact that God did the miracles for the Jews who were in Mitzrayim. He did not do miracles for us. We were affected by it, you know, but the miracles were not done for us. Like, let's say, for example, here's an achronish anafkamina example, right? There's a bracha you say when you go to a place that miracles were done for your fathers, and then there's a separate bracha you say when you go to a place where miracles were done for you, right? So you would not say the bracha, the miracles were done for you, seemingly, because if you went to the Yom Tov, right? Yeah.
An argument against that.
Yeah.
Didn't he do miracles to create a nation, which was in the last 3 generations?
Right. But I guess what he's saying is that if you just had a statement that God did the miracles lanu, then you could say that because that is on the nation as a whole. But if you're saying lanu v'lavosenu, then that davka means the people here alive today and our fathers, and then you're not referring to like Klal Yisrael as a whole. I don't think it's a powerful question in my opinion. I mean, I think it's like a question that, you know, could use some like you could explain it, but like I don't think it's that difficult. Like I think God gave us the Torah. If I say he gave the Torah to us and our fathers, I'm not so bothered by that. Like, because he, you know, so miracles also. You could say it's different because the Torah, we have the Torah now and it's from then, but like, you know, yeah. But I just want to make sure, is that, it seems like that is his question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as we're not, we don't have to agree with the question, but we can, as long as we're understanding it. Okay. Ayin Sefer Mitzvos. Mitzvos, I say Kufnun Zayin. Okay, you know what? So I would take a Sefer Mitzvos, but again, we've read this like a bunch of times. Okay,
Yeah.
so I sorry, Yaakov, and everyone else in this year. Shenitztavinu l'saper b'Yetzias Mitzrayim al pi hapsukim shel v'higarta levincha bayom hahu v'gomer v'zachor as hayom hazeh v'gomer. Okay, so those are the two psukim he quotes that are the machayev of sipur. Higarta levincha bayom hahu. You should tell your son on that day, saying, and then you shall remember this day. V'yesh lahakos. So we can ask the kushya. De'im Yetzias Mitzrayim. Oh, by the way, you know what? This is in the Kuntress lingo. Yesh lahavin is not expressing a problem. Yesh lahavin is just saying we need to understand it. Yesh lahakos is a kushya. So in all fairness, he's not saying that previous thing was a kushya.
Okay.
It's just yesh lahavin. Yeah. So he's not thinking, just something that could be
What did
understood.
didn't he say Tata Ika?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I tried to save him. Yeah. Okay. V'yesh lahakos. De'im Yetzias Mitzrayim Haisa Bayom Kidi Isa B'Shemos Yud Beis Mem Aleph Nun Aleph Madua Havia HaMitzvah Shel Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim Davka B'Layla. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting thing in general that we have sipur at night when you usually do the mitzvos during the day, Yeah. So he's saying, I'm just going to read the psukim here. Well, you don't have to get it now if you don't want to, but 12:41 and 51. If you're ignorant, yeah. Oh, an ignoramus with a not close at hand. Or not anymore, I guess, once you get it. 12:41.
That's too much effort. Bring it on.
Full circle. Yeah. So the pasuk 12:41 is Vayhi miketz shloshim shana v'arba me'ot shana vayhi be'etzem hayom hazeh yatu kol tzivos Hashem me'eretz Mitzrayim. So be'etzem hayom hazeh is in the day. That's what etzem hayom hazeh always means. And on in like the that part of the day, and then also what was the other one? Nun Aleph. Vayhi be'etzem hayom hazeh hoti Hashem es b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim al tivosam. And that was during the day. And they did leave Mitzrayim during the day. Like that was the thing. Okay, fine. So the question is, why are you saying it? Why are you telling the story at night, right?
Well, you have other mitzvahs, other mitzvahs, but not only all the mitzvahs.
Yeah, that's true. Right, that's true. Yeah.
For the sipur, so
Yeah, deeper good in the day. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Today Latarz is a kushya, so that was it. Okay. Yeah. I tell you, it's not a halachic one. Yeah. Today Latarz is a kushya. We're gonna go on an odyssey, as the Baal Kuntress likes to say in real life. Yeah. Oh, if you can. He gives shiur in yeshiva the week of Shavuos, the day before Shavuos.
Cool.
Yard side shiur, and it's always the shiur of this scope. So he did it last year over Zoom, but I feel like by now then he'll probably do it in person. But I don't know. So just put that on your mental calendar in 67, whatever day it's. Yeah. Okay. Latarz is a kushios. Today Latarz is a kushios. Tzrichim lahavin inyan hagula b'chlal. Grand. So we need to understand, in order to answer these kushas, we need to, he says kushas again, darn. We need to understand the Geulah in general. Ayin b'gemara pesachim daf kuf tes zayin, and aleph b'machlokas Rav Shmuel, which we also looked up inside already, so we don't need to do this again. B'inyan maskil b'gnus u'masayim b'shavach. So the halacha is, you need to start with degradation and end with praise, and the Gemara there says, Rav Amar mitchila of the avodah zarah hayu avseinu. That you start off by talking about avodah zarah that our fathers did, and then Shmuel Amar avadim hayinu. That's machlokas. Upaskinan ketarvayu, and we paskin like both of them. Kid ita b'hilchos mata zayin dalid. Like we see in Hilchos Mata zayin dalid, where he goes through and says he walks us through the avodah zarah and the dasa emes, and then the obvious and the favorites, and he says, this is what we should look at inside, right? Because that was an important one. Yeah. What was it? Zion Dalit. I'm not going to translate it. Okay, so in the here where we did that, if you want to hear about our theories. The Fain, Maskil, so too we start and make known that we were slaves to Mitzrayim. So the fact that he uses the word maschil and maschil means that he's paskening like both.
Right.
Okay. Unlike, for example, the Ritva, who said that we paskin like just the Avadim Hayinu, right? And then we had the over question, which we didn't resolve, about why he talked about Avodah Zarah, or did he say we paskin like the Avodah Zarah one? He said we paskin like one, I know. Really? So maybe it was a footnote in the Ritva that said that we paskin like one?
Yeah, I think when a footnote said
Okay, maybe the Rabbeinu Hanan or something like that. Yeah. All right, fine. So someone says we paskin like one of them. Was it?
Maybe I haven't that one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So the ein b'zeh stira deika shnei inyan b'geula. So this is not a contradiction because there are two concepts in Geula, or two themes. I don't know how you want to say Indian. Ha'echad hu Geula mi'avdus l'cheres b'guf. So one is the redemption from slavery to freedom in the body, physically. Shniglu mihios avadim. We were redeemed from being slaves. V'hi kashitas Shmuel. That's the sheet of Shmuel. V'asheni hu Geula. Okay. I never know how to read this word. I think the mem is a prefix. Me halach nefesh shel eved v'katan v'oved avodah zara l'zeh shel ben chorin u'mevugar v'doresh es ha'emes. Okay, so it is the geula from the halach nefesh. I feel like it's probably a modern idiom. Let me just look it up in. Is this the one that's idiom? Yeah. Right? Doesn't that feel like an idiom? Halach nefesh?
It does.
Halach. Not here.
Ooh.
So I guess I would just say the modus operandi, right? Like that. I think that's what, right? Like I mean, maybe we'll come up with a better term. The mode of soul, I don't know, of an eved, a katan, and an oved avodah zara, right? A slave, a child, and a idolater, to that of a free man, a mature person, and a seeker of truth. That's how he's framing the Geulah of Rav. He could hit as Rav.
Have you looked at halach nefesh or no?
I looked up halach nefesh. Maybe I could look up mahalach nefesh.
Yeah,
I don't think grammatically. I know mahalach is a word, but I didn't think grammatically Geulah mahalach nefesh. That I would think it would be Geulas.
Mixing halach nefesh, dot blank, word dot blank.
Okay, so I'll look at that up. Mahalach, no. Mahalach, fine, no. All right, fine. So whatever it is, we get the idea, right? Okay, so you're going from an Eved Katan over the Avodah Zarah to a Ben Chorin Mevugar and Doresh. And I believe when he says Katan, what he means is what we. So again, you have to translate this into our yeshiva's lingo. I think he means infantile. I think that's halach nefesh al katan. I think it's infantile or childish. You know, yeah. We also say this at the end of the Haggadah itself. Al Geulah seinav al p'tus nafshenu, and that's good pshat on that bracha, right? So p'tus nafshenu is Shitas Rav, and Geulah seinu is Shitas Shmuel.
P'tus nafshenu is after.
Is nefesh.
Right, but I'm saying in the bracha it comes after the
Geulah seinu.
Yeah.
Okay. Kol hatalich shel Yetzias Mitzrayim, Ratzalon hamakos v'hahorah shel Moshe Rabbeinu. So all of the process of Yetzias Mitzrayim, meaning the makos and the demonstrations of Moshe Rabbeinu, nishanin l'tzarchei hageulah hanafshis kehachana l'kabbalas Torah. Nischanin. How do you translate nischanin? They were. I would say. Oh, here we go. No, I was gonna say they paved the way, but that doesn't work. Like konin. It's established is what konin means, but nischanin, they were established for the needs of the spiritual geula as a preparation for Kabbalah Torah. Okay, right? So this makes sense, right? All the makos were because the ilu haya l'tzarche hageula hagufis, if they were only for the bodily geula, hayasagi b'makat b'choros l'chud, then it would be sufficient with just makat b'choros. What? Oh yeah. I'm only laughing because you're laughing. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta speak the talk the talk.
Right.
Yeah, but so you get what the point being, right? Is that God didn't need to do 10 makos in order to get us out of Mitzrayim physically, right? So it was necessary for as preparation for Matan Torah, right? So he says Hashlama hatahalis latachlis zo shel hashinui mehalach nefesh shel eved v'chule l'zeh ben chorin v'chule haisa b'korban pesach. Okay, so the culmination of this process for this purpose, for the purpose of changing from the mahalach nefesh of an eved katan and oved v'zara to that of a ben chorin, a muvugar, and a dorshas emes was the korban pesach. שניצבים בני ישראל לשחוט את האלוהות של מצרים לפניהם בלי לחוץ על מה שיחשבו אדוניהם. So when they were commanded to shecht the gods of the Egyptians in their presence without worrying about what their masters would think. Ukidita bepesikta rabasi parsha tesva b'memra de Rabbi Thea bar Acha, which we're not going to look up because I don't know where to look that up. Okay, so let's just take a moment to appreciate that here. So he's saying that there are three elements in the shlita of the Korban Pesach. There's going from Eved to Ben Chorin. There's going from Katan to Muvugar. And then there's going from Oved Avodah Zarah to Dorish Emes. So how are those all present in the Korban Pesach? Oh, he says. Should we think before he says? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
With the goes our objection comes to.
That's easy, right? Yeah, because that is the fear of the retaliation of the gods.
Also Eved, because they're like rebelling against.
Yeah, right. So that was an act of rebelling against their master, right? So Katan to Muvugar is hard. Yeah, so that he has to explain. Right, so he says the ode.
Yeah, also it's funny, like where did he get these?
These are his categories.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he's getting this from anymore, unless it's that particular. But I don't. He didn't quote any source for it above.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the closest thing that we've seen to someone doing this is the Rambam, right? So the Rambam.
Yeah.
What was it?
When he said the Messiah Sheva.
Yeah, Rambam came up with that on his own. Also, he's not getting that from the Pesukim,
right?
And then we understood the Rambam the way we did it. Yeah. But I mean, look, this is just as a side point here. If you were doing your own sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, this is the type of thing that you theorize about, right? Like, what was the Geulah? So this is his theory about what the Geulah was. Okay, so there's avodat korban pesach kegorim lahatalas b'nei Israel. Kidi isa b'shemot. Oh yeah, maybe he doesn't explain the katan thing. We'll see. Kidi isa b'shemot yud beis yud gimel. Ika limud shel achrayut l'ma'asav shel. Yeah.
Sorry. Is it possible that he is trying to say that the Rambam's three categories
in Rav's thing?
In Rav's thing.
In his explanation of Rav's Shita?
Yeah. Are these categories?
It's possible, but I feel like not, though, right? Where does the Rambam talk about
Yeah.
Avdus?
No.
The Rambam says Kofrin, Toinachre, Hevel, Rotin, Avodah Zarah.
Yeah. So
And-
Avodah Zarah.
Yeah, the Avodah Zarah and Yehudo is about Dorish, SMS, etc. But then, yeah, I feel like that would be a stretch to cram it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say though with the okay, maybe this is a different point here. Okay, I'll say this. I don't know if I'm just getting this from what I just read here. No, okay, no, he does say it, right? What I was just reading. So in the Korban Pesach as the cause of the salvation of Bnei Israel, as it says in Shemot, that's where he says that if you do the Korban Pesach, then I'll save you. Ika limud shel achrayus l'masav shel adam b'mishpate sachar v'onesh. Then there is a lesson in the man's responsibility for his actions in the frame of sachar and onesh, lumas pras behefko, as opposed to pras and its opposite. Do you know the whole thing with Rambam and pras and sachar?
Never been from the definitions.
Yeah, so I guess we do. It's funny he doesn't quote the Rambam for this because he's using the term. Let's just look at this real quick here.
One is a chila.
Yeah. Here, there's only, I guess there's not.
I don't mind.
Thanks, because I want to use the copy. This is in Avos 1. So this is the Antignos Isopho, I think. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, so this is on page Reish Samach Zion in Avos. So probably in the back of the volume. Yeah. So the Mishnah says, according to the Rambam's version of the Mishnah, because there's two different versions of the Mishnah here. Al Gimel Antignos Ishtocho Kibo Mishimon Hatadik Hu Hay Omer Al Tiyu Kavanim Hamshamshin Akarav Almanach Lekabel Pras. Don't be like servants who serve their master to receive pras. Ella Hebu Kavanim Hamshamshin Akarav Almanas Shalola Kabel Pras. You know what the other gear is? Below almanas lekabel pras, right? So this is the more difficult gear. So you should be like servants who serve their master with the intention to not receive pras. Right. So the Rambam says, what's pras? So in person, I heard the Baal Kuntress say that pras is the same shorish as the word prize, like in Greek. I've never checked that out, but it's going to fit what the Rambam says. Pras nikra hagumul shagumul ha'anon mi she'ein lo alav chov. So it's the reward that you give to someone who doesn't have an obligation on you. Ella ose es hadavar b'derech chasidus v'hatava. You're doing it out of kindness and beneficence. Kagon sheyomer lavdo olevno hakatan ol ishto. So like you say to your servant or your young child or your wife, asay kaf v'aten lecha dinar o shnei dinarim. Do this and I'll give you $1 or $2. Honey, make me dinner. I'll give you $1. It's so weird. I do feel like this fits two of them, but they will have to have been prat v'sachar. This is the difference between prat and sachar. Ki sachar nikba b'chov. Sachar is established as a by principle, by rule. Okay, and then he goes and explains this, but we're not going to go into the whole Falcon and Bisos. Yeah. Okay, so that's just his definition. So in the Kuntress, when he's saying that Sachar. The Korban Pesach taught, once you set up the Korban Pesach as the way that Klal Yisrael are going to get saved, if you do this, you will get saved. And if you don't do this, you'll die. That's teaching you responsibility for your actions in the framework of Sachar V'Onesh, as opposed to Pras and its opposite. Inyan Zeh Havi Mahalach Nefesh Shel Gavra Mavugar. That's what he's saying, the Gavra Mavugar thing, meaning teaching them responsibility for their own actions. And that's something that I wish I had more of an appreciation of this, but I feel like a slave is not, there's no concept of responsibility for your actions. There's obeying your master and disobeying your master, but that's not you taking charge of your own destiny. You know, like I am going to do this thing. Like you could say that, yeah, every slave can take charge of their destiny because they could choose to run away or like disobey their master, but like it's all vis-a-vis the master and his will. This is saying you can do this and like break out and go free in terms of and like leave Mitzrayim, like that's like a radical like life change, you know. V'gam da'avodas ha'korbanos bichlal hi lahavir as adam mihashkavat avodas zara la'avodas Hashem kidi isa b'mor nevuchim gimel lamed beis mem vav. So that's the Rambam Shita on korbanos. That korbanos in general are for removing you from avodas zara. So not just the Korban Pesach in particular, but the whole Inyan of korbanos is transitioning you away from avodas zara.
Cool.
Yeah.
So he explained all three of them.
Yes. That they had to do this act without caring what their masters thought. That's going from a slave to a free person. They had to take responsibility for their actions. That's going from a child to a mavuger, and they got rid of avodah zara both because of the korban itself and then korbanos in general is for that. Yeah. Okay. Aval low rock avadim shel paro b'mitzrayim hitztarku l'shinui mehalach nefesh shel eved v'chulei l'zeh shel ben chorim. But Jews in Mitzrayim weren't the only ones who needed this transition. See where we're going here. I am the Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadi Aleph, the Yitzhar Hara Sholit Bottom Mishas Yetzia. That's Marcus Aurelius.
Really?
Right? I mean, if you hold that Antoninus is Marcus Aurelius. That was Machlokas. That right, was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi asked, and Marcus Aurelius, I forgot who asked who. When does the Yitzhar Hara come into a person? And so Yehuda Nasi said at the time when it's in the womb of its mother. And I think Marcus really said, but if that were the case, then it would start kicking to get out. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, that was an accident.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So then Yehuda Hanasi likes that answer that it's from the time that you're born. And then I think Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi quotes Lepetza Chatas Rovetz that Chatas crouches at the opening, which means the opening of the womb. Yeah. You can look at the Gemara later. I don't think we should look it up now.
Okay.
All right. So everyone is born with the mentality of a slave, a katan, and an ovid avodah zarah. All right, that's when the Torah.
Yeah, you can. I have to write down some questions.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So everyone's born that way. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's definitely about.
Halach nefesh.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't use it here.
Yeah. Did you see it in that dictionary?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, because he says halach nefesh. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Right. V'yish lomar lefika techanin Hashem es kol hatalech ha'meora shel Yetzias Mitzrayim l'tachli zo. So you can say, therefore, that God established this entire process of the event of Yetzias Mitzrayim for this objective. Sheyesh bo kol hayesodos deva'inan l'shinui mehalach nefesh shel eved v'chulei l'zeh shel ben chorin v'chulei l'chol anshe b'nei Yisrael v'lo rak la'osam shechayu b'yamim hahem. Is that getting this far?
No.
Oh, okay. He's saying his point.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I've been kind of.
Yeah, we can wait for you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm listening.
Okay, yeah. So he said that the entire Yetzias Mitzrayim was orchestrated to facilitate this transition for all of the Bnei Israel, not just one who lived at that time.
Oh, I see.
Lanu v'lavosenu.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, but how?
Wait, but isn't that what we were saying at the beginning, that we got benefits from it?
Yeah, he didn't say how this is yet.
So it
Okay?
doesn't answer a question now.
He's not answering our questions yet. I'm saying that this is the first part of the
Yeah,
answer. Okay, but then here's what he says. Sheyesh bo kol hayesodos deva'inan l'shinui mehalach nefesh v'chulei. Oh yeah, I just read it. V'lo rak. Oh yeah, I just read that also. All right, v'im tomar. If you'll say, how can this process be achieved in all the generations that lived after Yetzias Mitzrayim? That is the purpose of sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Okay, it's not a retroactive glance at an event in the past. It is a transposition, whatever, of the past events to us now. So that Yetzias Mitzrayim can achieve its purpose. Okay. The ha'avara zo lo sagi b'limud l'chud. With this, how's he learning ha'avara? What's ha'avara? Yeah, transfer. Is that the best word for it? I like that Green Dictionary the best. So if you find it, let me know. But I'm gonna look here. Ha'avara, taking, bringing across, transferring. Yeah, transfer, transmission. Transmission might be better. Transmission of characteristics. Let's see if that works. The ha'avara though, with this transmission, lo sagi b'limud l'chud. Transition. Yeah. Transference, whatever.
Okay.
This ha'avara is not it's not enough with learning alone. Ella ba'inan gamken his askus kol agavra b'hatsagas kol ha'ma'ora b'foal. You need involvement of the entire person in the hatsaga, in the I want to say a demonstration. Not nearly as bad as learning the Yartai theorem.
Display introducing presentation.
Presentation, yeah. Setting up, placing, positioning, yeah. Yours is better. Oh, because I was reading the wrong word. Presentation, introducing, putting, yeah. Yeah. So in what did we just say? Presentation of the entire event in action. Chayavim b'mitzvos korban pesach u'matzah umar im hasipur. So that's interesting. Okay, so you do the same actions that they did bodily in order to facilitate that transition.
That's why I said yeah.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Right. Very, very good. Yeah. Im kozeh sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim lo havi kitotza'a min ha'ma'ora ella dahavi mi gormav. Okay, so he says the sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim is not an effect or a result of the event. Rather, it's one of its causes. Rasalomar l'shinui halach nefesh shel kol anshe b'nei Yisrael l'dorei doros. So in other words, yeah, okay, right. So the way we think of it is the events of Yetzias Mitzrayim happened, and then as a consequence of that, then we tell the story. Right, but what he's saying is that when we tell the story, we are bringing about the result of the Yetzias Mitzrayim that the actual Yetzias Mitzrayim was intended to bring about, right? In us.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're doing like them in Yetzias Mitzrayim.
Yeah.
Doing sipur.
Yes.
That produced the Yetzias Mitzrayim.
Yeah. They went through the actual event, and that, like when they shechted the korban and stuff like that,
Right.
they did that. But we do that through sipur with and the involvement in these mitzvos now. And we're in order to accomplish the same thing. Now, obviously, we don't have. Oh, I mean, this is kind of going to get to it. We don't have all the makos.
Mhm.
So what do? We do it through sipur.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Uk'inze isa b'shemos yud aleph through beis ulaman tasaper. So it's in the dictionary. It's this is one of these statements of purpose, which oddly enough is not one of the psukim that the Rambam quotes for a source of Yetzias Mitzrayim of sipur. This is the one that actually uses the word sipur in it. It's interesting. Yud aleph through beis. This is the very first pasuk in Bo on 156. 156 in the Tanakh at least. V'yomer Temo Moshe Bo El Paro Ki Ani Hifaris Libo V'Etzlev Avadav. Why? L'man Shiti Osasai Elabik Yirbo U'Laman Tasaper Be'Ozne Bincha U'Ben Bincha Et Asher His Alalti B'Mitzrayim Et Osasai Asher Samti Vam V'Datem Ki Ani Hashem. The makos were for the sake of the sipur, which is for the sake of Yetzias Hashem for generations. Okay, so that's just a statement there of the relation between sipur and the purpose.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. So you're saying that the sipur and the sipur from generations is the same purpose as the makos taparo. Right, for Yetzias Hashem. Yeah.
I'm kind of like, when you were in Pop inside, they talked about like what was happening. But the time of not happened, I'm putting all the inside out
Yeah.
and what happened.
Right. Yeah. And Moshe was there to explain it to them. That
So like,
Masada never.
they also had people that
They also had sipur, right? Yeah, it was a sipur. It was like the sipur on the news, like current events. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my biggest question is
Yeah.
how does the Hag say that it's not their
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, just in terms of time, if we want to finish the shiur, we have 20 minutes. So we'll just pick up the pace just a little bit. We can always discuss it later. Alpi kol svara, according to the entire svara, move on. Madua havia tsuras hamitzvah b'she'elos haben davka v'lo b'hagada l'chud. Okay, so that was not a question he raised, but he's saying we can understand why the tsura of the mitzvah is through the questions of the son specifically, and not just haggadah. Sheshe'ela ba'atma havia mahalach nefesh al ben chorin. Questioning is a sign of a free man. Okay, that's one of the characteristics of a free man, right? That you question stuff. Okay, you're disagreeing, or you're
It's been bothering me so much, so I found out.
the what?
It's been bothering me so much, so I found out.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. V'yesh levar od. So he's saying that again, since the whole purpose of Yetzias Mitzrayim of sipur is to facilitate this transition, so he's saying that doing it through getting people to ask questions is facilitating that transition.
and children are the ones who are gonna ask questions.
Yeah, because they're the ones who are katan literally, and you know most in need of that. Yeah. V'yesh levar od, you can explain further. The chayavin lahagid es sipur davka derech drishas psukim k'dei laharos tachliso shel sipur. You need to tell the story specifically through expounding on psukim in order to demonstrate the purpose of the sipur. Dahainu shinui hagavra kehekshar his askus b'Torah, which is in order to demonstrate the purpose of the sipur, which is the transformation of the gavra as a preparation for being involved in Torah. Okay, fine. V'zehu inyan anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. Okay, we really have to do a shiur on Anochi for that. Okay, to get that point. Okay, fine. All right. V'im kozeh muvan gamkein had amrina v'afilu kulanu chachamim b'kulei mitzvah lein l'tzaver b'Yetzias Mitzrayim. So this also explains that line of even if we're wise and smart and knowledgeable stuff, we still have to tell. Okay, why? If it was just a transmission of Talmud Torah, halo ein beis hamidrash b'lo chidush upshita dekuhu chayavin. Right. So obvious, if you have to learn, and obviously there's more you can always learn. Okay. We asked this question also. Ella, mikeven to ha-mitzvah hi shinui hagavra b'halach nafsho. Since the mitzvah is a transformation of the gavra in his Weltanschauung, no, in his way of his soul thingy. So you might have a havamina that once you've already made this transformation, meaning you are already a chacham or a navan or yedei kol Torah, then you're pater. That's a weird havamina maskana. It's a continual need. As we daven every day. Right. Okay. And therefore chayav. That's weird having maskana. I want to go back to that. I'm not sure if I like that answer. I mean, it's a hard having maskana anyway, but. ואומרים אפילו כולנו חכמים וכולי, מיד לאחר שאומרים ואילו לא הוציא הקדוש ברוך הוא וכולי, עדיין אנו בנינו ובני בנינו משובנים היינו לפרעה וכולי, לאחר שאומרים שיציאת מצרים נסחננה לגאולה נפשית לכולנו, אומרים דאיקה צורך תמידי לנו לגאולה זו. So basically we say it right after Avadim Hayinu, where we say we would still be enslaved, and that's, he's saying, is referring to the or we are obligated to be involved in this even if we know all the stuff. Okay. All that is a perpetual need. Yesh lafarish. My internet connection is unstable. All right. Well, if we lose them, we lose them. Yesh lafarish does here Yetzias Mitzrayim b'chol yom havi chizuk nimshach shel sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim to lel tesvav lahagavra. Right. I think I mentioned this in the name of Rabbi Yoni Sachs, that the Yetzias Mitzrayim every day is a strengthening of the zechir that you do on the night of the seder. So you have one night that you devote to really going all in on this, and then when you say your zechir Yetzias Mitzrayim every day or every Shabbos or every whatever, you're reinforcing that transformation to keep it going. That's why the statement of Rabbi Elazar, which is not talking about the Yetzias Mitzrayim for sipur, it's talking about b'chol yom. That's why it was included in the sipur. Yeah.
You mentioned Shabbos, that you say it on Shabbos?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it just goes for all the Yetzias Mitzrayim, but he's saying that he's pointing out the Tamidi thing, and Tamidi daily is the most greatest expression of Tamidi.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, it's obvious that, you can't say that the Yetzias Mitzrayim every day is of the same nature as like a commemoration of the anniversary, because it's every day. It's not the anniversary, so it's something else, whatever you say it is. Im kol hasvara muvenis kavanas lemisha ata lanu v'lavasenu es kol anisim ha'elu v'chul Geulah Lanu v'Geulah Lanu. Now he's going to answer it directly, which we already intuited from his answer before. Pein muvan medua havia mitzvos sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim davka b'layla. The hashlamas shinu halach nefesh dehainu tahali hamaora shema'avirin meha'avar lanu ata, so that the culmination of the transformation of the halach nefesh, which is the process or the tahali, how did I translate it before? Process of the events that transitions from the past to us now. That was with the avodah of the Korban Pesach. Ein Devarim Tes Zayin Aleph Dehotziacha Hashem Elokecha Mitzrayim Laila V'ayin B'Sifrei Sham Sof Piska Ayin Hey Diatu Bayom Val Nigulu B'Laila. Okay, so there it does differentiate. In the Sifri it says they went out of Mitzrayim in the day, but the Geulah was at night. So he's saying that the Geulah Tanefesh was at night. Yeah, which was the Korban Pesach. Okay. What stira is that? So you can answer the stira on how we eat the matzah. I am Pirush Mashnas the Pesachim Yud Aleph. The Ochel, we don't have time to look that up. The Ochel es hamatza beheseba kederech she'ochel in hamalakim v'hagadolim. Okay, so in the Pirush from Niles, the Ram says you eat matzah beheseba in the manner of kings and nobles. Ulam ayin hil's matzah chesvav de ochla kederech she'ochel ha'ani. Okay, so you eat it like an ani, right? So that's a stira. Okay, stira in the Rambam's explanations of it, because obviously that's not in the Psukim, right? That you eat it like kings. The obligation to eat it like an ani is tied to the idea of chipazon, of the haste. Shari nilman hachiyuv midavarim tes zayin gimel. Tokal alav matos lechem oni ki b'chipazon yatzatan eretz mitzrayim. So ani and chipazon are linked in the Psukim. So the question is, why is this a fundamental theme in the Yetzias Mitzrayim? Chipazon, right? Ein betargum unkelos le'devarim tes zayin gimel v'chein ein b'rashi al shemos yud beis yud aleph b'divrei matzah b'chipazon v'ein od b'devarim chaf gimel al tira'uv al tachbazu al ta'artu mipnehem Chen ayin Yeshayahu nun bez yud bez uveradaksham v'divrmas v'kilov v'gomer kiholef v'gomer. Okay, so we're going to take his word for this for now. The Kolanski Pazun he lo rak mihirus. Because Pazun does not only mean in hate, ella behala ve'yira, but anxiety and fear.
Like the Rambam had.
Like the Rambam had, b'vihilu yatzanu mitzrayim, yeah. V'al pi zeh yesh lafarish de begeula hagufis shel Yetzias Mitzrayim ikat sakana l'kiyuma taflis shel shinui halach nefesh. I think we said something like this at one point in the month. That in the physical redemption, then there's a danger for the spiritual redemption, right? What is it? Hahiskadmus hativis la'achar geula gufis bifrat kishayad hanilchatz al ha'alyona hi sheyishtana mehalach nefesh shel eved lezeh shel adon. Okay, right? So yeah, we did talk about this according to Shadal. So he's saying that the natural reaction of a bodily geula, especially when the hand of the oppressed has the upper hand, is to change from the halach nefesh of an eved to that of an adon. We're the masters now, right? B'halach nefesh shel adon, in the halach nefesh shel adon, b'zeh shehayetzer sholet bo adayin lo havi hagaver ben horin. Since the mentality of maybe mentality is good for halach nefesh, right? The mentality of an adon, since the yetzer is still dominating him, it's not ben horin, right? If you have a master mentality, that's just as dominated by your yetzer as a slave mentality, okay? In order to escape, to be removed from this danger, lo yatsu b'nei Israel b'nachas. B'nei Israel were not taken out in calmness. Ela b'behal aviyur. They were taken out in anxiety and fear. Shiyakiru b'socha geula she'efshar litmoch al atmam l'chud el al Hashem. To recognize in the midst of the geula that it's impossible to rely on themselves, but rather they can only rely on Hashem. Uvakach yishtanu mehalach nefesh shel eved lozeh shel ben chorin. And that would allow them to transition from a slave mentality to a free mentality, not a master mentality. That's why chipazon is the ikr. Shemare al tachlisa kehechsha l'kabbalas Torah, because that indicates its role as preparation for receiving the Torah. I never thought about that. That's why you don't eat heseva at the eating of the korban pesach. Okay, I just never thought about that because I guess it doesn't come up with a whole lot, right? Can you do the hilchos matzah zayin ches? Da'af korban pesach havi ikar b'shinui shel ben chorin, because even though the korban pesach was a foundation, a fundamental in the transformation to a ben chorin, nikumakom b'korban pesach levado ikasakana me'inyan halach nefesh shel adon, ve'in hashuni leben chorin nechtam umiskayim ela be'inyan ha'chipadon dematzah. So in the eating of the korban pesach, then there is still a danger of the mentality of an adon, because you're defying your masters and slaughtering their gods. You know, so the only idea of which I was connecting that to Haseva though. In L'kach nitzchayev b'nei Yisrael lechol matzah im korban b'pesach b'mitzrayim. Oh, al shem ha'asid. I'm just not getting this here. That's why they had to eat the korban pesach with the matzah for the future. Was that like to remind them of the chipazon in the midst of the action that would be defying of their masters?
Weren't they actually not in chipazon when they ate it?
What was that?
Weren't they actually?
They were actually in chipazon, right?
They commanded it, right?
Yeah.
They weren't actually leaving out the chipazon.
No, but they were supposed to eat it as though they could leave it, and I don't think they knew when they were going to leave. Right. I think that's shot is that
Right. They didn't make that provision.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they knew the Malchus Bekoros was that night, but they didn't know when they were going to leave. And the commandment to be ready to go meant that they had the mentality of like, we could leave anytime. And that's like, it is an interesting thing because like, even in a normal meal, like if you're in a normal meal and let's say like you're waiting for a phone call, you like, there's a chipazon type element to it. Certainly if you're going to be leaving your country forever, you know, like that's a real chipazon.
Wait, I'm confused. They didn't lean on the Pesach.
Yeah, I missed that his answer for that one.
But you do lean on the matzah that you eat with the Pesach?
Yeah. Yeah, that part I got. I just didn't. I didn't know why he brought in the Haseba thing.
Well, from that,
no,
how you
yeah.
don't,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Is it Seba? Is it? Yeah. Okay, there you go. Right, right. You'd be exacerbating that. Okay, let's finish this. V'im ze yesh lomer t'chayev laharos kol inyan ze shel talei hagula derech ofen achilas hamata. So you have to demonstrate this the idea of this entire process of gula through the eating of the matzah. Heseva kederech she'ochlin hamalachim hagdolim mara al hatachlis. Reclining when you eat matzah, like the malachim hagdolim, shows the end, the objective. Tahainu shinui lahalach nefesh al ben chorin, which is the transition to the mentality of a free person. V'achila derech ani mara al zeh sheyatzu b'li litzmach al atzman l'chud. L'chud. I'm gonna laugh whenever I see that. The eating like an ani reflects the fact that they left in a manner that they couldn't rely on themselves. They should in order to achieve the purpose of the ben chorin and not of an adon. Just like you're mitigating the full blown. You want to demonstrate like your melech and the gadol. We are mamlech as kohen b'goy kadosh, but not to the point where you're going to be in danger of viewing yourself as the master. So you mitigate that with the idea of ani. Yeah, and chipaton would be associated with that. B'kvanas kederech she'ochlin hamalachim l'gavra hachoshev la'atmo lo la'adon shari milach hagadolim tochiach ukein had isa b'gemara gittin. Okay, fine, that's a proof. The rabbanan ikru malachim, rabbanan akam malachim. Okay, fine, that's a raya. Odiyet al pi kol svara the whole inyan dalad habanim who hadracha l'shinui nimchach b'halach nefesh shel ishim shonim. Okay, so the entire Indian of the four sons is guidance in the transition of one's mentality as in terms of different people. In other words, different people will have to go through the transition in different ways, different strategies. B'zeh yesh lavar as hateshuva leben harasha kedisa b'mechota Rabbi Yishmael sidras bo perak blah 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 halachim shel kahutz shinayim the lashon of blunting his teeth or breaking his teeth nimtet b'tanach be'inyan echad lahud. It's only found in one place in Tanakh. Ayin b'Yechezkel Yudches based through Dalad Yirmiyah. Oh, sorry. Did he say in one place? Oh, one Indian. You're right. Yeah. The Tanu b'nei Yisrael derech mashal shal v'seim chatu v'habanim ne'enshu. Which that's the thing is there was this proverb that they used to say back then is fathers will eat sour grapes and the children's teeth will be blunted, which is irrational because if your father eats sour grapes, it's not going to affect you. So they were complaining that they're going to get punished for their father's sins. Mm-hmm. Okay. V'hi hashkafa ben harasha. That's the hashkafa of the ben harasha. Shemivnei hagbalas reutz einav b'histaklu ba'olam, because through the limited perspective that he has when he looks at the world, eno roa sidur chuki hamishpat. He doesn't see a system of principles of justice. Umati g'les din v'les dayan, and he concludes that there's no judge and no law, no judge. Ubezeh habi kofer be'ikr. And that's why he's kofar be'ikr. So that's the whole thing with the Ben Rosh is that he's denying the fact that he's obligated in mitzvos, right? That's the thing. Like, what is this to you, right? Why do you have to be matriach us with a meal? Hashkafa zohi shel katan v'shel oved avodah zara. That's an infantile idolatrous view. We have to think about that some more. Hatshuvalo he hakayas shinav roslomer dehanefesh hachatas hitamus. That's Yechezkel's response to this proverb thing. If you blunt his teeth, meaning the soul that sins, it will die. I think that's a quote from Yechezkel. He's Yechezkel Yud Chetz Dalad. V'haraya lo di'ilu hayasham lo hayanigol. And if he were there, he would not have been redeemed. Ubezeh mesura lo hashkafa hamavugar v'ha'ovid es Hashem kedei lashanos es halach nafsho. So the main idea he's saying here basically is like, for this guy who has this distorted view, you basically have to give him whatever he needs to facilitate this transition. So for him, it's this idea of like, each person gets what they deserve, and like that's the idea you're conveying to him. V'im zeh yesh l'hayr de ben harasha nichol b'dalad abanim became into chol oved Hashem maschil chaya b'hashkafa the katan b'holech v'gado misham shel l'zo shel mevugar. Okay, fine. I like to think about it later. Okay, let's do the last paragraph because next year's going to start soon. V'im yesh l'hotzi bir inin eno yidei lishol yesh l'havim madua eno shoel klum k'shero hadvar haniflaim. Right, so you don't. Why doesn't he ask anything when he sees all this stuff? Okay, here's a good deal. I think. Mishum delo ifas le harihuk in harasha. If it's not, it's because he doesn't care, then he's like the Russia. Mishum eno yedea ech lenaseach she'elazo. If it's because he doesn't know how to formulate this question, hari iachar shehe garumi ben hatam sheshol b'lashon pashut mazot. There's no word from the Ben Tam who says, what is this in a simple language? Okay. Gam ein lomar deshosek mishum busha. You can't say it's just ashamed. Dein ze b'mashmav eno yedea. This is a classic question. Why do you give him the same answer as the Ben Rasha, right? Okay, that's in the Torah's Chaim. He knows how to ask. He holds it's usher to ask questions about what Hashem commanded. The truth is the opposite. Hashem Torah mitzvos lidros u'layin behan. God gave it the Torah and mitzvot to investigate. Torah de'eno yedea lishol he she'en badato deba'in lishol. It's he thinks that you don't need to ask. V'hari lo karinan le eno yedea eich lishol. We don't call him the son who doesn't know how to ask. It's the son that does not know to ask. And he's basing this on the Oracle Times, so we have to look at that later. Hashkafato shel ben zeh havia shel zeh shel eved. He has a slave mentality. Kamo b'hashkafas ben harasha he shel katan b'shel ovid avodah zara. L'kaf hayavin liftoach lo. That's why we have to open for him. V'lomer sheba'avur hashkafa nefona ata Hashem as Yetzias Mitzrayim k'dei l'shanat halach nafsho l'zeh shel ben horin. Yeah. So what I like about this year is, what I like about this year, I mean, look, you can quibble with a lot of stuff, but it's opening a derech of how to learn the Haggadah and the mitzvah of the night, that you're trying to transition from a slave, infantile, Ovid of Azar mentality to the good one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
that's good. And again, I sorry we had to rush it, but like I felt like we should,
Very good stuff.
Yeah, it is good, right?
And,
Yeah, good. All right. All right. See you guys.
any other
Thank you.